Hi family, thanks for watching. So I wanted to take this video to talk about our chickens. So I've been meaning to make this like 1 year review video of owning chickens, and we've had them now for a little over a year, maybe about 14 months. And while I was thinking about how I wanted to organize this video, I started thinking about all the lessons we've learned over the year. And so I kind of came up with this idea to put together 7 lessons that we've learned over the year of owning chickens. Now, this isn't our first time owning chickens, but this is the first time that we've both been really invested in the process and kind of doing it on our own together. So before I jump too far into the 7 lessons that we've learned since we've had chickens for the first year, is kind of just like an overview. If you saw our last video, which I will try to link in the description, we got these chickens in April of 2024, and we were getting them kind of like as a distraction at the time because my husband was heading out of town, and we thought it'd be a great way to keep our child engaged while Dad was out of town. Had actually done a lot of research in advance before getting chickens, learning about breeds, life stages, all those kind of different things, as we always tend to do when we nerd out about a new subject that we're enthusiastic about. And we had our heart set on a particular breed and went to go buy them from the store, but through some mislabeling somehow, we thought we were buying a mixed sexed grouping of chickens, so that a run essentially of 6 individual chicks, so they could have been male or female. And what I think we ended up with was a completely different breed of pullets, all females, of cinnamon queens. Our original plans were to get sustainable birds that we could use as meat and egg layers. But of course, that didn't work out as intended, and which brings me to our first lesson we learned. Number 1 is be a little flexible. Chickens are livestock, and sometimes you need to be creative when caring for them. So originally we thought we were going to get sustainable birds that could be meat and egg layers, and they weren't exactly going to be pets. We didn't even give any of our chickens names. They're all just chickens. However, we chose to raise the chicks inside the house. It was really awesome raising the chicks in the house because we got to kind of watch them grow up and become attached to them. And likewise, they became attached to us. In fact, it's super sweet. The girls love following our son all over. And sometimes they even follow us when we don't want them to, like when we're in the car trying to leave, because they've learned they'll always get treats that way. And we quickly realized these were no longer meat birds, which turned out in passing to be a good thing because these particular breed are too skinny to be meat birds. One thing we were reading about this particular breed of chicken that we did end up with is that they do have tendencies towards health issues. We've already noticed some problems with, I guess you can call them bad eggs or shellless eggs, sometimes like just really soft ones where they're more like a sack than they are like an egg. At first we thought it was like a calcium issue for like as it is for most chickens, but we also noticed there was a correlation for when they were stressed and leaving bad eggs. Mainly because we accidentally left them out one night and locked the gate behind them, and they got super stressed. And the next day, of course, we realized, oh, there's a correlation. We tried things like oyster shells, but the girls won't touch them. So we buy food with extra like fly larvae or whatever it is. We didn't have to go through any of that like awkward teenage years that I was reading up about, where they get kind of mean, I guess is the best way to put it. Just really sweet girls. Anybody can pick them up. They pretty much just stop and drop their feathers and let you grab them, and including other people's kids that come over to visit. It looks like we might have one hen that is broody, so we might have like another flock. We'll definitely do a different breed. One thing I would kind of caution though, I would say if you do have young kids with chickens, anytime any kids touch the chickens, we always had them wash their hands. We washed our own hands again, especially when they're baby chicks. Obviously salmonella. And as well too, our son's really great about washing his hands now. Even now when he helps us collect eggs, He's always diligent about washing his hands, and so he just kind of associates, as soon as he's done playing with the chicks, wash his hands. So the other great thing too about these girls being bonded to us is that they are very accustomed to routine, which kind of goes into our second lesson we learned, which is if you want well-trained livestock for that matter, routine is key. We did get a run chicken door for our coop, which I will go into more about it with the coop setup. But basically we have a routine with the girls. Every morning when we wake up and get going for the day, we open the door to the run. They then have free rein to roam, not just our property, but our neighbors as well, who we tend to share a lot of eggs with. There was one occasion when they actually crossed the road to our neighbor's house, who has loads of kids and chickens as well. And thankfully, they've never done that again. We were able to get them all back home safely. And that was kind of a lesson to us and the chickens that, you know, if we're going to leave, just put them away. And so we do. They don't get happy. They're not happy about it, but if the weather's really awful or if we're not going to be home all day, then the girls don't get to go out. And then at night, the girls will chillax in front of the coop, waiting for their treats and to be put in and locked up for the night. But then that brings us into our third lesson we learned, which is about how to lay out your chicken coop. Now, we didn't buy a chicken coop. We built ours from milled wood of trees that the electrical company had chopped down after a large fire came through our area. We used leftover paint, shingles, and used old fencing for the top of the run. We were reading that like raccoons and such can just rip chicken wire apart. So we got the really nice small 1/4 inch hardware mesh, and then we buried that. The girls, of course, proceeded to immediately dig all that up because when they would try to bathe themselves or try to stay cool, we had to then put down bricks and wood to stop them from going underneath, especially on the downward hill side of this coop. They were constantly disrupting the hardwire mesh and pulling it back up again. We also had to put a grate at the front gate. In the mornings when they were trying to alert us that it was time to let them out, they would scratch right there, and they were creating holes underneath the doors. And then another modification too that we had to make on the fly was adding bricks around the post of the coop. When we built the coop, my husband didn't bury the post because we didn't know if we were going to have this be our permanent spot for it. And of course the girls dug up underneath the posts and the whole coop was becoming crooked. The concept with this coop that we kind of just designed together was that it has lots of ventilation. It has extra ventilation over the ridge between the run and the coop itself. The wind tends to come from the south side, from the top of the hill down the hill, and rain and everything. So we didn't put any windows on that side of the coop because that's what gets the worst of the weather. And of course we have the back designed to open up all the way so that we can scrape out the poop that collects, which I'll also talk about that a bit more in a second. And then, as I started to mention, we have the amazing run chicken door. I love this thing. It is amazing. If you're getting chickens, you'll thank yourself for getting it. It is a bit expensive. And we were so excited about the run chicken door concept that we actually bought it before the coop was even finished, and ended up being a year before we even had chickens. A neighbor of ours had a door, an automatic door, I should say, and theirs though was just a piece of string, and I can't remember if they said the raccoons figured it out, but they figured out how to pull on the string to open up the chicken door to be able to then unfortunately get all their chickens. And with our run chicken door, it's set up that it opens up at dawn and closes at dusk. Now, agreeably, because of the way our hill is situated and the way the sun rises, it actually probably doesn't open until maybe an hour or two after sunrise, just because the sunlight doesn't hit it until it's fairly high in the sky. And then we just automatically change the batteries on the run chicken door every 6 months. So just set it on our calendar so we don't forget. I think it'll last a lot longer than that. Lesson number 4, feed the birds. Well, actually caring for that matter. We tend to automate this process as much as possible. We have an automatic food thing that we fill up and just have to refill. We have the food up off the ground so that rats and whatnot can't get to the food, but the girls still can. For watering, we have this automatic watering setup. I wouldn't recommend the brand that we got. It's really nice once you kind of work out the kinks. We have our blue barrel up at the top that we fill up, and gravity feeds the PVC pipe that then puts the water into the little trays. But the girls love to play on it, to jump on it, to poop on it, of course, and cleaning it out is always a bit of a faff. They came with these weird little cups that you're supposed to be able to take out, but when you take the cups out, all the dirt falls back into the bottom of the bowl, which kind of defeats the purpose of the cups. So we remove the cups and don't use them at all. So eventually we put a concrete block underneath their water dispensers, and that seems to have kind of solved the problems. We had no issues with freezing this year. We did have a warm winter, but I did wrap up the piping just in case. This is lesson 4, 5, I forgot, lost count already, is all about chicken manure. Now, one of our reasonings for wanting to get chickens is obviously we grow the bee garden for the bees, and we were thinking chicken manure will complete the homesteading cycle of life. Now, when we first brought the girls out, we were so excited to have them there. We were cleaning up their poop like every month just because. I think now we do it about every 3 months. Tried to make some compost out of it, because at the time our tractor was down, and so I was doing everything manual labor. And watched some YouTube videos about how to do tarp method and failed spectacularly. Problem I had was I couldn't get the pile big enough. Because our girls are free range, we actually don't get enough poop. Minimum size you need for composting manure for it to really be effective, to get the 3x3x3. As soon as I got the pile big enough, or even partially big enough, and watered it down like you're supposed to, the thing was too heavy for both my husband and I to move. I tried creating like 4x4 space, but then it did me so much to like get the manure from the tarp into the crate area that I had made for it. So I kind of just said, you know what, screw this. Still stumbling on that particular lesson. Hopefully this time next year I can make a video about how awesome our composting system is. So another vital lesson that we didn't really think about until it already caused us a lot of grief was where we let the chickens go, or basically blocking off our garden to them. In the beginning, we thought it was so cute and adorable how they would kind of like have like their own little salad buffet, or you know, their little tray of weeds to eat, and we let them into the garden every day to kind of scrape down all the weeds. But then when I tried starting my winter garden, they kept eating my starts, and that wasn't so much fun, and their cuteness kind of wore off a little bit, especially this time of year when it's really hot. They will jump into the flower beds where it's been recently watered and kind of burrow in, and as a result they'll disrupt the roots of the plants around them. So we learned quite quickly that about 4 feet is a good height. The chickens can't fly higher than that, or I should say jump higher than that, but they kept still getting into the yard even with the 4-foot fence around the entire garden perimeter, and that's when we learned that they were getting in between the crack. So we happen to have a lot of chicken wire at hand, but what chicken wire is good for is keeping out chickens of areas you don't want them to. We have not yet had problems with predators, but we have had a couple of close calls. In the future, we may fence off a dedicated area for them, which kind of leads me into the next lesson we learned. Lesson number 7, keep it simple. Unless you're worried about predators, we've found that the girls are good teachers. We tried buying toys for our girls in the beginning, and they pretty much ignored them. They're happy to just run around and do chicken things. And all the repairs that we had to make because they were scratching in places that we didn't anticipate and causing a ruckus, we just used what we had on hand to repair. But yeah, ultimately, having chickens is so rewarding. They're such wonderful little velociraptors. So much easier than the bees. There's a lot more upfront kind of effort that we had to put in with making the coop and everything and getting it painted. We finally got it painted a year and a half after we started the project. Our neighbors are really super happy with all the eggs that we have to share with them. Our kid has an amazing time playing with them. He's always giving them hugs and giving them special treats. And surprisingly, as we might have a broody hen. My husband was sharing that the Cinnamon Queens, there's like a 5% chance, I think is what he said. So for us to have a girl that is definitely showing signs of broodiness. That's pretty amazing. We've got a friend who has Orpingtons that we were thinking about getting, and so she'll give us some eggs and we will try to put them under the broody hen and see if we get a new generation of chicks in the near future. And if we do, we'll definitely be recording them because they're just so cute and fluffy. But yeah, if you have chicks of your own and just can't help but love and adore them, please hit like and subscribe. And if you think you want to get chicks, I mean, definitely leave a comment if you have questions. I'll try to keep recording our chicken journey as we go along and share updates from time to time. But if you've made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. It's been pretty cool. I haven't been as good about editing these videos lately and have quite a few of them sitting on my computer ready to go. So I appreciate so much for you staying tuned to the end. Please hit the like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.